Guys, good afternoon. Welcome back here live for the Squawka FIFA 15 Cup. Really interesting, as you saw, there was a slight error. There was a bit of an miscommunication of information. It wasn't actually Wonky Donkey that won. It was Crossy, is it MC Crossy, I think it was?
Yes.
He actually won 3-1.
Yeah, so... Yeah, there we go. Got the right man on the screen this time instead of bodging it up.
You know, yeah,
fired the producer.
Yeah,
he's in the skip outside.
I wasn't going to say it was the production team, but we'll just say
we'll blame them.
Yeah, we're blaming them.
Was us.
It's interesting. Next up, we have two players representing Team Dignitas. We have ChrisyBullard and also Tass. There he is. There's ChrisyBullard right there, age 27, from Ipswich, supports Chelsea. We'll leave that as Chelsea at the moment. I'm not going to say anything else. His opponent will be Tass. He's 20, from London, supports Arsenal. So we actually have a bit of rivalry, considering they play for the same organisation.
Yeah. So for those unaware of how this kind of works, a lot of the top players, they actually represent a kind of the same team, so to speak, and then they share the sponsors, that kind of thing. The guys who get them out to the tournaments, and both these guys represent the British powerhouse Tass.
They do indeed, and I have to be honest with you, both players have a very high level of FIFA skills. Chris obviously commentating with me beforehand, he was saying how good Crossy is. Crossy going through, obviously the winner of this will play Crossy, and then the loser will play Wonky Donkey. So they still have the opportunity to come into the winners final and the losers finalist. So it's a double elimination.
Of course, this is a marathon, not a sprint. You can lose the first game and come back and win the tournament. So you get a second opportunity. It's a bit different to how traditional brackets work in football. If you watch the World Cup or whatever, or the Champions League, teams go out and they're out. Whereas with this, you get a second chance. You basically get a second life. And if you get to the final without losing, you'll start with a one-game advantage. So there's a big advantage to actually getting through without losing, but at the same time, it can still be overturned, and we still might see a surprise.
Yeah, we've seen it before in other competitive games in eSports. This one, for me, I've seen Tass play. I was lucky enough to commentate over his victory against Epsilon Vinch earlier in the year, and we were talking to Tass before the game and playing through, and he said, I'm not even playing at my full capacity. I was like, really? Okay. So he starts playing Vinch, and he said, what are you going to do next? So I'll just turn it up.
Good. Well,
and it was like, wow. How can you turn up? You're winning, you're playing well, and all of a sudden you just turn up your skill level.
You've got no gear to go.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And he really did bring an A game. For me, on this one, it's going to be one of the closest games.
And we'll see. ChrisyBullard rolling back the years. Obviously, he is the former FIWC champion.
Yep.
The most accomplished British FIFA player that we've produced. Obviously, not had as much success in recent times. I hope you don't mind me saying. I can see him grinning in the background. But this is a chance for him to reaffirm himself as a big dog, maybe, or he might just get smashed about 10-0.
He did seem to take a bit of time out in 2014. Did hit London earlier in the year, and also I know he's been playing in a lot of other events. Sometimes if you take that break and you come back, you do seem to have that re-energised passion for it again. He's playing at the moment is very, very high. This, for me, if you looked at the players at the beginning and you were to pick two to be in the final, I would have picked these two, knowing and seeing what they've been playing like. However, I know Crossy recently as well has been hitting the scene hard. He's been, he's making a big name for himself as well.
I think for Chris, it's just the years have gone on. He's no longer as dedicated as he once was. So it's kind of tough to stay at the top of the game when it's when a lot of people put in a lot of time into the game, and a lot of people watching, perhaps they may play FIFA against their mates and as such. But there's some guys who they play with this professionally. They play every single day. They'll compete in tournaments around the world. And so, the amount of time and dedication it takes to get to that level and maintain that is it's very time consuming. So for somebody who perhaps doesn't have the same time to commit, it can be very hard to keep up with the front runners.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much in any level that you look at now in esports as a scene. With FIFA itself, it's grown so much over the last couple of years. I mean, to see cups like this being put on, and big shout to Squawka, guys. If you're not following them, make sure you do on Twitter. I believe the Twitter is @Squawka.
Yes,
I believe that is correct. So make sure you're following those guys. Also, make sure you're following at EGL and also at EGL Online. Now, I had a thing. I wanted to see if anybody would tweet in. Squawka were doing some stuff. If you can give us some funny names like Christmas player puns like Peter Beardsley, That'd be really interesting. And also Denver Bar Humbug. If you've got any other, somebody actually said before I came on, gigs in blankets. Be really interesting. If you have any, just give us a tweet. Bit of Christmas festivity as we do kick off here. Now, Chris is Real Madrid and Taz is Chelsea. I'm not going to make any predictions here. It's going to be really interesting. As I said before, I believe this one's going to be more about possession and waiting for that break. As we do see, there it is, a goal. 3 minutes 31 into it, and that is an early lead there for Chris.
No messing about there. I think he's taken what I said to heart about, perhaps no longer being on top of his game. This could be his big comeback here.
It can indeed. It's always the one. I mean, I've seen Taz. He'll change up his tactics. He'll look how Chris is playing. And I'd be interested to know how much these guys play against each other, being in the same org. Whether it's something that do they go head to head? Do they train? Do they use each other's abilities to learn things? It'd be interesting to see, and maybe if we can grab an interview or grab Chris after or Taz after the match, just have a quick chat and see what they come up with, or is it a case they just get online and look for total annihilation?
Well, I know from a number of other FIFA players that they tend to have like one or two people that they rely on to practice regularly with, and almost like a practice partner, somebody who can constantly try and raise each other's game and stuff like that. But at the same time, when you're going to be competing against each other at tournaments, it doesn't help to play each other all the time, because if you know how the other person plays inside out, you can cancel each other out a little bit and you lose your edge, I guess.
It's very similar to having that sparring partner. Once you know how they play in their defensive work, you've really got to change that up or have that something little special in the tank. But if you've just joined us, we are in our second game, and this is ChrisyBullard versus Tass. Chris currently 1-0 up here. He's playing with Chelsea, but he's playing with Real Madrid. Chelsea now sitting back quite deeply again. He's looking at the formation there, allowing his wing backs there just to drop off to make that added defensive wall. As he's got an early push, is he going to fall to his feet? No, it's not. He's going to get the rebound, clears it out onto the right wing, and that is in the favour there of just looking at the side. It's going to be a corner. Yeah.
So what do you think to the latest version of FIFA then?
It was alright until they updated it.
And that's it.
It was much better. I think the mechanics of it had improved a lot, and then they updated it, and somebody turned around and said it's just FIFA 14 in a pretty shiny dress.
I think it seems a lot faster than the last one did. Often on the last one I felt that, like, especially with the players, when you turned, for example, felt like you were trying to turn an 18-wheeler. Whereas on this it seems like a little bit more fluid. You're more likely to just kind of take a player on, whereas on some of the FIFA games in recent years you've had to do like 90 step overs, a spin turn, and like chip it over them to take somebody on, whereas this you can just use a player's natural pace or whatever, knock it past them and move on kind of thing. And I guess that's more true to life. I mean, every time somebody gets skinned, they don't have to do something really elaborate to do so. You don't have to be Cristiano Ronaldo to take someone on. Obviously,
having the ability of just using the right thumbstick as well for the spins and everything else does make it more fluid. And for me, I will say it does feel a smoother gameplay. There is a lot. Obviously, FIFA 14 was very much designed on using the wings. This, for me, is about more focused on each player's individual play. Hence why you see the top teams in competition like Real Madrid, Chelsea, Bayern being the favourite teams.
Yeah,
beforehand, you could maybe step up, have one or two fast wingers, and really dominate the game. This, I think, is just. I'll be interested to see what they do for the next one, but this is the closest I think we could see for movement as realism in a game.
You think? I think that every year, but then again, the guys at EA, they come out with something new. And the new Pro Evolution as well that's come on leaps and bounds, especially since that's been pretty gash for a few years. So it's nice to see that kind of catching up a little bit. Yeah,
obviously being the first one of their first titles as well on Next Gen Gaming, on FIFA having the advantage, bringing out FIFA 14 last year and release and FIFA 15 this year. It is, it's really helped the momentum as well. I'd like to see more features of where people can actually spectate the game and more those side of things as well, because in other games you have that ability. FIFA, I think more of it needs to be done where people, if you're playing a game, you can have a spectator and really bring home what we're doing here.
I think when tournaments get bigger and more popular, that's something that they're more likely to implement. But because at the moment, the average person's probably not going to tune into somebody else's FIFA game. It doesn't necessarily lend itself that well to the spectator experience, but increasingly we're getting more and more big tournaments around the world. It's not just the onus is no longer just on EA to run their tournaments. So as time goes on, I imagine that's the feature that they'll implement, and you'll be able to join a player's lobby and watch them play. Because there's some guys who are real big names in the FIFA scene, the likes of KSI.
Oh,
He's the kind of person who you could imagine people actually tuning in to watch him
play
just via the game.
It's the same as with Matt HD Gamer. I mean, a lot of them are primarily for pack openings on Ultimate Team. Not very often do you get to see the level of and I say professional in a very strong way, a professional FIFA player. Some of these guys make a full living out of this.
Of course, yeah. But then again, KSI, obviously he's competed in tournaments himself. He competed in the Virgin Gaming tournament a couple of years ago. You know, he didn't win it by any stretch, but you know, he put in a reasonable performance. I know, speaking to a lot of the FIFA guys, that he's regarded higher than you'd expect.
Yeah.
In a lot of his videos, you know, he kind of dumbs down his own performance, so he doesn't just spank people, because that would, you know, it wouldn't be as exciting to watch.
Yeah, I was quite honoured and privileged actually when I first casted for you guys. Was actually FIFA here in London, actually AGL, and got to cast with a guy, and it's really nice because the amount of respect he actually got from the other players was quite shocking. He's predominantly known, as you said, as a YouTube player, and when you're coming up against guys like this, you know, you had likes of Mover, Shorzy, and everyone else. It's nice. It is nice to see that respect. The ball come through. Oh! I thought, do you know what? That would have been a nice little finish coming towards that first half here. Looking on this first half, Chris, it's very much even. That one goal really doesn't.
Should have been two there, though, I think. But yeah, it's a close game. It's been a bit of a midfield battle. No one really had. In fact, there's only been those 2 shots on goal, I think, so far. So yeah, quite a close game, but still plenty of football to be played.
They look very confident. Again, the wings seem to be favoured, but they're not being used as for the crossing position. It's allowing them to split the defence areas. We do see the Chelsea now possibly going to push on the attack here. Brings it back, goes back into Real Madrid's favour. Chelsea, again, the strength in him there. Great ball through the top. Is he going to pick this player off? Yes, he is. Oh, what a great save. I'd say when you come down to that, another feature that they've really changed in this is the keeper abilities.
Yes.
And that has made a massive impact on it. Before you had a chance where you could shoot from a fair way out and even at close range, and the keeper, would say be less than impressive.
There's still some dubious moments. You know, you can still get beaten at the near post quite easily. Like, you know, I've conceded goals in this game where I thought I could have saved that. But I guess that's FIFA for you, isn't it? At the end of the day, you're gonna. In real life, I guess you have goalkeeper mistakes. I was watching a French game the other day. Neck and neck throughout the game, and then the goalie saved it into his own net in the 90th minute. These things happen.
Human error, and you know, I suppose you have to look at that. And there's the boys there. Chris looks very. 1-0 is no difference from 4-5-0 up. At any point, Tass has that ability to bring that. I'm going to look at it this way. If Tass can get an early goal here, I think that we could be on for a really interesting second half.
I think it needs a goal this to spice it up a little bit, or another goal, because it seems, as we said before, it's a little bit of a stalemate. Chris still probably had the better of the chances beyond the goal that he scored, but still, as we said, it's anyone's game at 1-0. The game can change in a drop of a hat. So
yeah, it's exactly like football in that way. You know, it takes a second to score a goal, and a little bit of luck doesn't help in any way. But Chris does seem very confident in his passing towards the middle there. And again, Tass seems to deny him. And look at the strength, and this is why I think he picked this team. The strength in the team and the pace is immense, and he's going to push forward on the right hand side. Bit of a wrong play. I wouldn't have gone for that, as you're going to see.
Courtois pulls one out of his back pocket there.
That would have been an interesting scenario. I never pass back to the keeper.
I like to pass around. I like to play a bit like Liverpool, too risky if anything.
See, I'm a very
mid-table.
Yeah, see, I myself am very much of a counter attack. I play it very strong in the midfield, and then trying to split the defence open, as we do see that Tass is trying to do there. Chris is going to see that one off and clear that one out. And again, the utilisation of midfield is so important when you're playing at this level. You see 5-6 stringer passes, and then maybe looking for the attackers, whereas if you're looking at a public game, it's very much of see a 1-2 and then they try and push it through there. But the play here is so confident here.
Steady build up, try and carve out an opening, of course.
Just watching the play is Tass now waiting for his players to move forward. The player does move into an offside position.
I think Tass is actually yet to get a shot on goal, so
I think he has one off target. But so on target it's pretty ball, but that's going to be a great pull there from ChrisyBullard. Looks to move to the right hand side. Is he going to pull the trigger at any point? Yes, he is. It's 2-0. And that again is feet for 15 for you. It's the player on player scenario, the strength of a players, where before you would have seen maybe, you know, a little bit of weak attack, and they've really stepped it up, and I believe Tass is actually changing this one up. He's going for the 4-4-2. Is that diamond wide?
Not sure.
No, just having a look there, making some changes, bringing on some players. So Chrissy's keeping it the same, playing 3 up front. We've got Remy Costa there up front now for Chelsea. So on comes the player here for Tass. It's going to be, I think he's looking for more pace up front from these guys.
I always think it's interesting on FIFA that, you know, there's just some attributes that real players have that you simply cannot put into the game. And so, for example, you see Cesc Fabregas there; he was on the bench, whereas obviously in real life, there's no question that he's starting, and you know he's been assisting goals left, right, and centre. But you know you can't really build his vision into the game. For example, I mean you can to some degree with perhaps with making runs and things like that. But obviously it's up to you as the individual to actually spot the run, which is something that Cesc Fabregas would do excellently in real life. But perhaps it's impossible to emulate on the game, and for that reason, he might not necessarily be a great player to actually have in your team.
Just looking at it, going across goal, and keeper diving to the right hand side. Picks out what's going to be in a quick throw out into the middle. Exactly what you're saying. It's like you have the players as well. If the team needs that little bit of hype, even on the enthusiasm, in a real scenario, they add a different dimension to a team, and it's very difficult to bring that into a console game.
It's impossible to be able to implement. So as a result, some players just simply aren't as good as they are in real life. Or they're not as effective, at least.
Chris with a lovely little back heel there to play it off to his teammate. As again, wins that challenge. Seems to have won the higher percentage of one-on-ones here. Again, looking for the middle of the box. Doesn't manage to get the ball through. Going to fall down to Tass. He's going to push it forward to Costa. It's Remy now pushing left-hand side. Remy is so fast in this game. He is. A lot of people in Ultimate Team look at Remy and also having Sturridge as a duo up front purely because of the pace. And going to push on the left-hand side. This could possibly be a goal back here if he gets an early cross in, but it's great defensive wear there from Chris, and he's going to see this one out. No danger imminent, but we do, as I say that, Tass comes back in again and pushes it down on his left-hand side.
Chris has been very strong at the back so far. He's snuffed out anything that's really come his way.
Having that 2-0 lead, if Tass did score, there is also that cushion there. He would need to obviously score twice, look at the draw, and then see what to play out from there. Defensive-wise, Chris actually hasn't put a foot wrong.
We've got to just reiterate, though, that obviously even if Tass loses here, he can still come back, and of course he can, he can go on to win the tournament. But it is an uphill battle when you're in the loser bracket. You can't go wrong again. Chris, obviously, if he wins this, will go into the winner bracket final. And if he was to lose that, he'd drop into the loser bracket final. So he's still got almost like a life to give.
Oh, he's going for 4 up front, playing 2 in midfield. Hazard, Costa there. He's moved them forward. This is interesting. He's playing a 4-2-4.
Final roll of the dice.
Yep. 70th minute. Let's see what he can do. Push everything up. I have seen him do this and win.
Well, as we said before, things can change instantly. If he gets a goal back pretty sharply, he'd be game on again, and perhaps he can push it to extra time.
Tass is going to look for the pace here of Costa, and Costa's has 2 players around him. Chris again defensively, he's just like
running out for a goal kick. Yeah,
he's like a brick wall. Literally brings 2 players onto him, making sure that no one's there in the box still, and he just again seems so confident. Having the 2 in the midfield could be his downfall, though. Chris has seemed to be very quick on the counter attack. Again, he manages to win that one-on-one again, more in his favour. Pushing for, he's going to use the left-hand side. Yes, is the pace though of Hazard here. Just looking for the player.
Just inside his man.
Oh, beautiful save. Keeper keeping him in that one there.
Bit of a half chance that one, beating the goalie at the front near post. Not necessarily an easy thing to do.
No, not indeed. The keeper comes and punches. Just falls short though of Tass's player. Chris is now going to hold that play up. Brings it forward to Bale. Bale with the pace. He's going to look for the far left-hand side. Has he got the pace? I don't think he's going to get it. I think Zoom's going to get it. Ramirez passes it back, and it's going to go back to the keeper.
Not a long time left now, though. He really needs a goal soon.
Yeah. About a minute or so roughly left of this second half. Currently 2-0 to ChrisyBullard, but that is going to be a great ball through the middle. Is he going to look for the play on the left hand side? Oh, that's great defensive play there by ChrisyBullard.
At the back, just solid throughout the game. I feel like he's definitely earned this one.
He's not put a foot wrong at all. He's literally, he's taken the opportunities. He's not playing any rash plays. Very, very confident. It's nice to see Chris actually. He seems to have found his feet again in FIFA.
Well, let's not speak too soon. It's out for a goal kick.
That's all right.
Should be able to see the game out now.
88 minutes
One
left
and a
on
half
the clock
virtual
here.
minutes left plus injury time. It's not a long time to hold out now. No mistakes, basically.
Yeah, you just got to hold tight. He does have that cushion though, being 2-0 up, but nobody wants to get in the scenario where they score it's 2-1 and then again last minute. But we're going to see a defence again. Great play again. Most people would have just literally turned around and hoofed that out. Utilising the keeper again, which is allowing him to push forward. If he's not careful, he's going to call him offside. He's looking for the player in the middle. Great short ball. He's going to go again.
I think he's just going to see the clock out. There's no point in turning over possession if you can just hold on to the ball.
Yeah, just play it out.
And now, as you said, the whistle should go any second now, and ChrisyBullard looks like he's going to be the second player in the winner bracket final.
It's going to be interesting because he wasn't too sure in that, and as you do see, the whistle does go. ChrisyBullard will be the next player into the winners bracket. He will go against Crossy, and then it'll be Wonky Donkey versus Tass. There he is. I'm not even going to call it because I actually, if I was to pick two finals, as I said before, I would have actually said Chris and Tass. It's still it's still a possibility.
But those guys are the two most established players. But who knows?
Yeah.
We might have a new challenger emerging. So exciting.
Crossy's performance, though, as you said, is the new challenger. Crossy, he's got as much as
He
chance.
looked comfortable in game one.
Yeah.
So.
I'm going to say, if we're going to go for Crossy, I'm going to say Chris will go through, and I reckon you see Crossy and Tass in the losers final. That's my prediction there.
So you're sticking to a Bullard Tass?
Yeah, I am. I'm still going to go for that. Guys, we'll be back shortly with the next game here, live for the Squawka FIFA 15 Cup. Don't go anywhere.